Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Max Potential Habits podcast. I am giddy with excitement for today's guest because I haven't had anyone on yet who does what she does. And specifically, she is a video presence coach. And she's a professional actress. She's an entrepreneur. She helps other people empower their businesses through the camera. And I don't always read the bios, as you know, but I want to read hers because every word has potency in it. And it really says a lot about what she does. And you'll understand why I wanted to have her on to talk about the power of your presence on camera, how to optimize your presence on camera, how to use your videos to grow your business. So we're going to have a really fun conversation. So Kellsie Moore is a success mindset and on-camera coach who specializes in helping high-achieving entrepreneurs become empowered to be their best self in life and on camera. Everything she coaches stems from mindset and breaking through limiting beliefs to help explode their career growth and their personal joy. So in alignment we are. As a professional actress and digital CEO, she helps business owners and personal brands optimize their on-camera presence with more confidence and charisma to better connect, communicate, and serve their audiences. She works with her clients to map out a strategically aligned plan for them to bring their inner life vision into the external world. To me, this is just such a rock star bio because the first video I ever did was about a 5-minute video and it took probably 25 takes.
Oh my God.
And I remember it was it was, and it's hilarious. Like if anyone goes back to my YouTube channel and watches my first video, it's hilarious. And you just get better over time. So I'm really excited to have you here. Welcome to the show today, Kellsie.
Thank you. Oh, I appreciate it. I know it's kind of a long bio, but it really kind of sounds like that's what I do. That's what I'm passionate about. That's what I help with people.
Yeah.
So thank you. I appreciate it.
Your website's awesome. I was checking it out before we got on. I was just like, oh, yes. I love this. I think video is something people struggle with a lot. Yeah.
Very much so.
So let's start with that. How did you, I mean, obviously was professional actress before becoming a video coach?
Yes.
Okay. So share, first I want to hear a quote that you love. What's one quote that you absolutely love?
Oh, one of my favorites it's an Einstein quote, and it's our imagination is our preview to life's coming attractions.
Ooh.
And I feel like it's such a succinct way of kind of describing manifestation. Like our imagination is our preview to life's coming attractions.
That's
awesome.
Awesome.
If we can start to see it, visualize it, then we know that that's possible for us, and we're really an active participant in creating our future. And I love that one.
I've never heard that one, and that's really cool that it's like we think about manifestation as kind of a more modern term, but the
ancient wisdom,
right? Yeah. Ooh, that's awesome.
Yeah. He learned from a lot of ancient wisdom and put it into like his modern science. And the thought of, so often I think we're like, oh, manifestation's like this new shiny mainstream thing, and we take a lot of science even from a couple hundred years ago or something, and we're like, oh wow, like quantum physics, let's this is so fascinating. It's like so much of this has been ancient wisdom that's just been passed down that so many people have previously studied. And it's just so exciting, I think, as an individual when our own consciousness gets alerted to it and we become awakened to this, and it's just exciting. And then it feels like all this new fresh stuff, they're like, oh, this is actually very like normal concept that's been taught for so many hundreds and thousands of years. I find I'm an anthropologist by study, so that stuff is just like super interesting to me.
It's I don't know, we didn't talk about this. I'm a sociologist, so similar backgrounds, and you just go,
so much sense.
Right. And I just go, oh, I mean, to me, what's so fascinating is that it's all happening. Like, like law of attraction is happening, whether you believe it or not. So you might as well tap into the power of knowing the rules of the game.
Use it.
Yeah. That's awesome. Okay. So how did you become an actress? I'm so curious.
Oh, well, okay. Do you want like the real nitty gritty story?
Heck yeah.
So we were even mentioning briefly before that we have our kind of backgrounds beginning in criminal justice.
Yeah.
So my first job out of college was first working as a teacher for GED education and hireability. So using computers, how to interview, write resumes, how to talk to females, like that was part of it, in an adult male community correctional facility.
Cool.
And so they were reintegrating back into society, either if they had failed probation several times, and this was their step before moving on to prison, so they'd already done jail stints, versus the other half of the clientele were guys who had served long-term incarceration and were on their way moving out to reintegrate. So I had both. And I started as a teacher and then moved into the position of a case manager, which is a job that not a lot of people know is a thing. So I was like the in-between probation and parole officer. So I was the person that they would have either after or before one of the others. And my office was in the live-in facility. So where their dorms essentially was my office was right in the middle of that hallway. And so I started out as a teacher for about 2 years, then moved in the case manager position, was there for about 2 years. And there was one particular night that I had a lot of shitty nights and a lot of crappy nights after this, but there was one that was just so extra terrible. And at least the way that it landed on me. And it was about 9 p.m. and there's literal rain dripping into my window. It's dark. The building's an old tuberculosis hospital. It's gross. It's this really like musty, just nasty old building. And I'm sitting in my sad little dark, dilapidated office, and it's me and then my desk, and then the door is on the other side, a few feet away from me. And I have a client, about a 300-pound man, barge into my office, extremely just enraged, belligerent, has just a completely explosive episode, who was in there coming out of 25 years for murder, extreme anger, temper issues. And there was some clerical error down at the front office that we could fix, just take care of, no problem. But it was one of those times when it was like not able to hear it, to take in a solution at that time, which, my gosh, who knew so many of the experiences that I had from that time in my life would teach me so many of the different mindset skills that I use now in such different contexts. And I remember him exploding all of his rage onto me so forcefully that I started to reach my hand for a pair of scissors, like just in case. I didn't know how this was going to go. And working on de-escalating the situation, I had a colleague that came by that helped me calm everything down, get him out of my office. I sat there in my feelings for about 20 minutes thinking, this cannot be my next 40 years. This cannot be my future. Why did I choose this? I mean, I understood step by step how I got there, but it was like, why am I still here? Like, this is too long. And I started to write out a list of things that used to make me really happy. And my childhood dream was to be an actress. And I loved theater growing up, and I would do film projects any chance I could. And I really wanted to be a lawyer and a doctor and a cop and president on TV, not in real life. I learned that, but on TV. And I love to fight. And I was like, I want to do action movies. I it's so much spirit inside that you just kind of mute to fit inside the box, our own prison that we create for our own lives. Where you have to fit inside of this. And I was like, I'm not getting to live all of these other pieces of me. I'm a dancer, I'm an artist, I'm a traveler, I'm an adventurer, all of these things. And I just let it pour out. And I started free writing, what are the things that made me happy? What are the things that I want? And from that moment, I was sitting in my office, I started Googling how to become an adult actor in Denver in a tertiary market. It made no sense. And it felt so foolish. And I just didn't care. And 2 weeks after that, I went to no formal training in TV or film acting. It's a very specific type of acting. It's not theater at all. And I had no training in that. And I went to my first ever independent film audition with strangers that I had 3 pages of sides and never, learned how to memorize lines before or anything like that. And besides being in plays growing up, but then you have weeks, very different.
Yeah.
And I went and I booked it. I booked the lead. Next 6 months, filmed every single weekend, woke up a whole new spirit inside of me. I lost 40 pounds because I started caring about myself and my health again, and completely just, it was another, probably about a year and a half before I really left corrections. No, maybe about 1 year since then. And then I moved into higher education for a couple of years. And it was slow evolution. I still very much feel like I'm just getting started, really, with all my dreams and goals and vision and business and everything. But that was the catapult moment that started to shift something internally to go do the things that my soul is actually calling me to do. No one's going to do it for you. You have to actually say yes to that feeling inside of you that is screaming to be happy.
Oh, such a good story. I mean, wow. Okay. First, I want to point out to listeners, and I'm sure you've thought about this a lot, is like the first step in manifestation is knowing what you want. And,
Yeah.
so it's like you getting on Google and just typing in and starting to daydream. It totally shifts your vibrational energy and focuses you on what you want instead of what you don't want anymore.
Yes.
It's so powerful, and how incredible that you manifested it so quickly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, and it was so interesting along those lines too. It's like really once you make the decision, things do start to conspire in your favor.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I have to get out of this facility. I really hated that facility. I was next in line to take over the sex offender caseload, and I was not having it. I was like, I can't handle this. And so I moved to a different facility. A position opened up, double the pay, like showed up online. I got the job. All happened to start very quickly. Moved into this nice, new, clean, pretty facility. No sex offenders, no arsonists, like way more a chill clientele, I guess.
Yeah.
And it was still just atrocious. I mean, still
just not what you wanted. Yeah.
Not what I wanted.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I have to get out of this field. This is done. And out of the blue, my is the alma mater, the college I went to, called and were like, hey, we have a job in Denver. We have your resume on file from years ago. Would you like this job? We don't even have time to bring you in for an interview. We need this hired out immediately. And it pays more. So I was like, yes. Thank you.
It's such a good example. Like I tell my people all the time, when exactly like you're saying, that decision moment, when you cut off all other options, then the universe conspires for you instead of against you, or the lack of clarity that you have. Decision is so powerful because it's you stating clearly what you want, and you send that direct message instead of a confused message. And then you get to, and then paths open up that you could have never planned or foresee. I mean, it feels like magic, but there's actually a formula.
Yeah.
and you were doing the formula, but you didn't even know it at the time.
Oh, I had no idea. What it was. And now I think I overcomplicate stuff all the time.
Sure.
I'm like, okay, well, it has to go in like this order and you do it this way. It's like, tune back into that to when things were so emotionally charged. Because it's such, I mean, if you guys really, if this is exciting to you, you probably talk about this, but the quantum physics of like the double slit theory, where the electrons and the matter actually change and mold based on the view that's happening. So it's all so scientifically based.
Yeah.
And this is, I mean, how we know miracles happen. Miracles are proven. It's like because the intention can be placed upon something and direct the way that matter moves. And that's how thoughts can become things. And sometimes I think I can flood it in with chaos and confusion and adding more to it and all of this stuff. And it's remembering, like, go back to the emotionally charged decisions where it is finite, and being open to, I don't know exactly how this is going to come out. I don't know what the next thing is going to be. I wasn't applying to go work at this admin for higher education, but it was that first step that helped propel me to a place of emotional peace, like allowing mental clarity to open up. My schedule started to open up, so I started learning and diving into everything, business strategy, everything, how to build a business online, what does it take to be an entrepreneur, and fueled this dream and built my first course, which was all around mindset, all around personal development, because that's what was changing my life. And then working professionally as an actor, doing commercials and industrials and indie films, and starting to get bigger auditions, and actually ended up taking a year and a half ago or something now, a job as a fill-in essentially for an adult acting coach in Denver. And that experience of me then stepping behind the lens to help others who had that story, who had, the lines, the character, the passion or something in them, helping them bring it out and actually be able to like tweak it, make it different and make it better, and see the impact and the result of the instruction and the coaching. That's when everything clicked and shifted. And I was like, I'm an online marketer. I do personal development. and I'm an actor. Oh my God.
Mhm.
This is how I want to tie it all in and really become that video coach for entrepreneurs so that they can be powerful and compelling and the lead star in their own company and actually feel great about it on camera, be interesting on camera so that people actually want to watch the content that they're spending all of this time creating. And that's really what just kind of tied it all in together and made that spark happen.
Mm, so juicy. I'm thinking of so many things because I think a lot of people listening get really stuck thinking I have to know the way, or I've got to know
Yeah.
exactly what it is that I need to do. And often it's an unfolding and it's those doors opening, and then you go, oh, okay, now I'll take this step. And then it awakens you to some part of yourself that you didn't know
Yes.
before. And then you add that layer and another layer, and then it just keeps unfolding over time. I think
Mm-hmm.
like you said the word
True.
epiphany, and it's like, I think sometimes we have an epiphanal moment and we tend to think, oh, once you have the epiphany, then you've got it all figured out. And it's not
Yeah.
that, right?
You
It's
just know
like,
the next step.
exactly.
Yeah.
And so, for everyone listening, like, you don't need to know all the answers. And it's
No.
just that emotional connection to the decision, and then let what unfolds unfold over time.
Yes.
And then keep making those along the way. And then in a year from now, 2 years from now, 5 years from now, like, wow, what can happen is absolutely incredible.
Yes. Oh, and that gives me so much hope for, when we get stuck and impatient, and it's like, I have no idea. Then, I mean, imagine what position we're going to be in 5 years from now by
Yeah.
continuing along this just amazing gift of a path right now, and
Yeah.
compare it to what 5 years ago was. Oh my Lord, you can't even recognize me or my life or my, anything
Yeah.
like.
Oh,
And all of that just happens from that next step, that epiphany, next step, epiphany, next step. Like
yeah.
it's an unfolding. I love that.
It's so good. It just made me think of the word, like, often, as entrepreneurs, we use the word perseverance. And
Mm,
it made me think when you said that, it's like that patient part is
yes.
so important because, if we think about microwave mentality or wanting overnight success and thinking that everyone else is doing it, because often you don't see all the work that goes on behind the scenes or all the
Yeah.
years of just self-discovery, falling
Right.
down, getting up, like you at the desk
Mhm.
having this moment where you're like, oh, this is not the life I want, where I'm like feeling threatened for my life and reaching for scissors in my pocket or on my
Yeah.
desk or whatever. It's like,
Exactly.
hopefully they weren't in your pocket.
No, they're in my desk drawer.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it's, it's
Yeah.
just, we, we forget, like, it was funny one day I was sharing with a friend about like a struggle I was having. She's like, you struggle? Like, you always look so put together and this, not. I'm like, are you kidding? Like,
Kidding.
weekly I struggle. And it reminds
Every
me,
hour. What?
right? Like, I
Yeah.
use all my tools on myself. I just go like,
Yeah.
some days
Yeah.
are hard, some days and for me it's totally about that patience piece, because I see the end of the, it's like I see the pot of gold on the top of the mountain and all the people that I want
Yeah.
to help, and I'm like, I want to get there now.
Oh yeah. I'm like, can I just run up there? It's like, sure, go try, but you're
Yeah,
gonna get tired real fast.
right,
Like I need to sit
totally.
down. I'm
Yeah,
like, okay, well, let's keep walking. But
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
so
It's so,
relate to
this
that.
was, how long ago was this for you?
I was just thinking that the other day. I was like, when was this? Um, I have a really hard time with dates. Okay,
Yeah,
let's walk it
I know,
back.
I do too.
I'm like, I graduated college in 2011,
Okay.
I think. So then probably what, 12, 13, 14 probably would have been when I left corrections.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. So
Okay,
somewhere around
so you're
2013,
you're about
2014.
6 years into to when you really started the journey in this direction.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I think so. And then I was in higher education for 3 years.
Okay.
Yeah, I seems about right.
And then when did you like really decide to go business route with the skills that you were developing and all of that new?
About 2017
Okay.
when I started really making those decisions that it was like, okay, this is I have no the f clue what I'm doing, but
Yeah.
but this is for me. Like I want it all. I want the whole future and vision and imagination that I can see, that I can feel, and this is the first step towards that. And
Nice.
that was, I think, when I invested in my first course, went to my first live event. 2018 was when I made my like LLC and created a business name and all of those little pieces. 2019 was when I hosted my first live in-person retreat. And yeah, I've just been serving clients since 2018.
Cool. Okay. I had to ask because it, to me also for listeners, like I hear this all the time with the people I work with. And we know this, from the success leaves clues ideology of like, okay, the reason people succeed is because they don't give up, right? And the reason people fail is because they give up too soon. And when you go, okay, you've been like at it since 2017 and you still have ups and downs, I'm sure, and you're learning the ropes and the learning curve is somewhat steep when you become an entrepreneur, right? So it's like 2017 and I go, that's not that long. And when you're in it, it feels really like forever because you're like, I want the instant success.
Because you kind of think back to like the memory of, okay, being in 2014 and being that girl that was sitting there angry. Oh my God, the anger, like killing me. So angry and cynical and like out of the world's against me. And so just all of the things, right? But I'm like, that's a waste of energy. How silly, and you think that it's been, 6 years maybe since that kind of first moment. And then I'm like, well, why don't I have these things on my IMDb yet? Why don't I have this amount of revenue that I have my goals? Like all of it is that next little step. Like you can't get to, I'm so excited. I work for myself now full time. That was, could 2014 sad, angry version of me imagine that? Not having to wake up in the morning for someone else and to go to some dark, dingy tuberculosis hospital correctional facility and serve a bunch of sex offenders. Like, what a transition. And I wouldn't be able to get to this place without all of those other little steps and levels and investing. I mean, all the courses and the coaches and the like fire hose of information, but you cannot stay in that stage of just receiving the information. It has to be like information, do it. And you're implementing and you're practicing. And that's going to be the thing that presents whatever the next step and the next level is for you.
Yes. Oh, so true. So much wisdom there. I was having a conversation with someone about the process of perfection because a lot of us get stuck in perfectionism and we realize
waste of time.
Right? Because it takes you clarifying over and over to get to the perfection. Like perfection is a process. And then it's never going to be totally perfect either, right?
I was kind of think of it like this, where, okay, if you have a checklist of, I think there's some examples someone made in like a TED Talk or something that made sense, where it's, okay, if you have a safety checklist that you have to go through before you fly an airplane, that is a numbered thing you can go through. You had better make sure that checklist is 100% perfect and checked off. Like that is a measurable thing that you can ensure is perfect. When you're referencing like perfectionism in, I don't know, your business, your life, you're like, that is an organic living creature. It's subjective. It is constantly evolving. It is constantly in motion. There is no, like, where's that base? What are you going to land on? It's not a thing.
It's a moving target, like a constant moving target. Well, and when you said that about the airplane checklist, the interesting thing is that checklist was built over time, like accidents and like, right? Like, and then you go, we need to add this to the checklist now. Oh, now we need to add life rafts. Oh, it's the same thing. And it's just, I think we have, I always think about perfection as this one-sided expectation of awesomeness. Like it's all going to be awesome, right? And anytime we set ourselves up for that, we're going to experience a perception of loss, failure, mistakes, instead of going like, oh, the perceived loss, mistakes, failures are actually what are helping me verify to get better and better and better at what I do.
Otherwise, quite literally, how else would you learn and improve? The clients that I work with, I'm like, you must have some desire in you to strive for excellence. I have very much an expectation of excellence where we're not going to settle for something being bad, but we need to have it be good enough to keep moving forward, because our good enough as we move forward keeps getting better, keeps getting better, keeps getting better.
Yeah.
It's like, that's where the magic is.
Yeah.
But without taking those steps forward.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's funny. I want to talk video, and it's like when I did those when I did those first videos, it was like that. It was like, I created a mantra for myself that I teach my clients. It's screw perfection, just get started. Screw perfection, just get started. Because like, that's one thing that's plagued me in my past is perfectionism and wanting it to be like every detail to be perfect and this and that. I would never be where I am today and have gotten here as quickly as I did if I got stuck in perfectionism, because it's never going to be perfect. Someone is always going to judge it as imperfect. Someone's always going to be ahead of me. I'm always going to be a few steps ahead of someone else. So it's like, stop comparing yourself to other people. Get it out there. I mean, I've made all kinds of blunders in videos and in my copy, and it's just like, I go, screw it, just get it out there and start making a difference in the world and doing you, and you'll learn as you go. And it's like, probably when I look back at this moment 3 years from now, I'll be like, oh, I could have done better here and here and here. And it's the same as when I look back at my first videos, but if I had never started, I wouldn't be anywhere. There
would be nothing.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, if we want to shorten that learning curve, that's when we implore the help and the guidance of somebody who is a few steps ahead of us.
Yes.
Instead of sitting there and comparing ourselves to them and being like, oh, well, mine isn't like that. I can't do that. Hire them, have them help you.
Right.
Like, learn that stuff, shorten that learning curve.
Yeah.
And I actually, one of the things that I teach is we need to just get started, right? But with video, there is a point of caution, because simply the advice to, put your first one out there and then just keep practicing, there is the potential that can hurt you. Because if you're continuously reinforcing habits that are not going to serve you, then you're not actually improving anything. So we want to learn some of the foundation. I mean, it's like if you're at the gym and you're continuously using the machine wrong, in the wrong form, you're going to create an injury. And so the injury that can happen with video is that your authentic personality and brand and your branding message isn't going to come across to your audience in a way that they can receive it and actually use attraction marketing, become magnetic to the right people that you want to bring in. So it's like, learn how to use the equipment correctly, right? In a way that's going to serve you, so that you can like jump in, get started, learn how to do it in a way that's going to serve you. And it's still going to be rusty. I mean, you're still going to be like, okay, I can only lift like 2 pounds. Like, I still feel really weird at this machine. And then you just keep going and you just keep practicing, but you're practicing and enabling those good habits and behaviorisms and patterns that are going to serve you and to draw in your audience and actually, help your business grow and expand and evolve to the next level.
This is so good. Okay, awesome. And I think about this as autopilot habits that you actually need to start strategically. So I call them strategic habits that you've got to develop over time that then become autopilot. So it sounds to me like you've got some incredible tips to create those. And I love the word you used, attraction marketing. So if you're thinking about attraction marketing, you got to set up certain habits to make sure that you're meeting the people that you want to meet, attracting those people because your message is so clearly resonant with them. So share with us first. I would love to hear what you notice are patterns of the hardest parts for people getting started in camera video work.
Oh, yes. The cringiest thing that's a big struggle for people is the persona shift that happens, and it's really uncomfortable. And it's have you ever known somebody in real life and then you see them on camera and they're like, hi, I'm Kellsie, and thank you so much for being on my show right now, and I just want to say really welcome, and like, what happened? And they lose their personality, they lose their authenticity and their connection to their audience and the energy. I mean, the lens that we have here is, it feels like it's some inanimate object and it's unnatural for us to hang out with and connect with a glass and metal box, but this is so literally, and I use that word with intention, a energetic portal from us and our intention and our value that we're communicating and offering to the viewer, to the person that's there on the receiving end. And so we really need to treat it as such, with that respect of the potential of what it has and what it is, and what it can do for people. And so when somebody hops on and they're either super monotone, really flat, there's no energy, and they're like, well, this is just how I am in real life and in person. Like, cool, you are disregarding the energy portal. Or people are like, oh my God, thank you so much. I just like love that you're here. And they're so explosive over the top. You are not respecting the energy portal. Like, there are these different ways that you really have to tune into who is your charismatic self on camera that is authentic and real to you, whilst being the leader in your industry. If you're building up a business and you want to have some sort of authority and presence in that, like, you have to find a way to merge those two. And that's really what I teach.
I love this. Okay. So with that said, what are some tips for people? Because I mean, and you know, vulnerably sharing with everyone listening or watching, it's like, oh, it's no joke hard. I think, at least when I started, it was like, I thought I was being authentic and I was trying my hardest, you know, but it's like, it's so awkward. I mean, I was a person who hated selfies, like hated pictures, generally speaking, just had never been on camera, you know, was like all awkward. Like, what do I do with my face and my hands? And I mean, it was just like super uncomfortable, but I had a vision of what I wanted to create. And I was like, fuck it, I'm going for it. And like, I'm going to probably look foolish and all these things. But I think that having someone like yourself in my corner would have been amazing, because, you know, like, there's tips that you can use to help you lean into that I love the energetic portal. So you can lean into the energetic portal more quickly. And so you don't have to take as long as I probably did, and still struggle with sometimes, you know, like I think just now I'm on episode, and I think when this is released, it'll be later, so I won't say the number, but I'm like in the hundreds, right? And I've done probably thousands of videos by now. And I still sometimes, like, I feel like I'm just now getting to where I can like turn it on and just totally be myself. Yeah. And sometimes I still can't. So, you know, we'll say that for the listeners, so you don't beat yourself up thinking like, oh, you know, you got to be perfect at this.
No, you don't. And I mean, again, that's the benefit of when you elicit help and you ask for a guide, because it just helps shorten that learning curve. Yeah. You can do it over the course of thousands of videos. You'll figure it out. But wouldn't it be nice for it to take 5 videos?
Yeah, totally. Okay. So share some tips with us, because I know a lot of people, I mean, to me, video is the wave of the future by far.
Yeah, it's now.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So it's like, learn these skills now. Everyone listening, to build your business. My video stuff that I release, even with emails, I have a really cool program that I can like email a video to somebody really easily and just have a conversation with them instead of like text. Right. And I mean, it's helped me get so many different types of clients to have them get to know me more quickly and build that rapport. So to me, like, video, there's unlimited options to connect with your people through video. So these skills are gold mine.
Unlimited options.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
So share some tips with us. Yeah.
Okay. So I've got some good tips for you. Real quick, I just wanted to ask, because I've been looking into different video players and Dub?
Yes. Yes. Okay. Dub. Yeah.
Dub. Yeah. So that's a good one.
Awesome.
And then anytime I send any communication to my team, I always make a Loom.
I joined a coaching program that they use Loom, and I'm like, oh, cool. Yeah.
It will relay your message so much more clearly and easily. And you can be like, okay, well, you know, we need a correction on this thing. And like, somebody made a mistake, but I want to communicate this in a way that's positive and good energy and all those things. Like, the ability of using a Loom, a video where it's recording your screen and your face at the same time, is going to be exponentially easier. So,
awesome. Yeah. And everyone listening, I'll put links for Dub and Loom in the show notes so that you can connect, because to me, Dub has been life-changing, and I just learned about Loom. So I'm like, oh, cool. Let's see how this goes.
All these fancy there's so many ways to use these skills. And once you master the you part of it, your own video presence, like, you can take that onto any of the social media platforms. Yeah. So I don't teach, just how to grow Instagram or YouTube. It's like, no, learn you and then put it out on all of the things.
Nice.
So a couple things to really get started, some tips for that, to really focus on how do you start to master your own on-camera presence, is notice where your voice resonance level is. When you are speaking from a place of your conviction, certainty, and authority, when you are passionate about something, notice the ebbs and flows, the cadence, the intonation, the way your voice stances. What does it actually sound like? Because what happens is we do this thing that I call actor's voice, and really noticed this when I was teaching acting, and everyone would speak up here, and it'd be like, okay, we're having this conversation, like, all right, tell me about your character, tell me about like what you have going on, and they would describe it, like, okay, great, now go be them, right? Go now say the lines, but being that version of you, bringing your truth into it, like that's acting, bringing your truth into a character and making the story come alive. Well, then you step in front of the camera and it's like, how dare you? This is, how you like you broke your promise, and it is absurd sometimes. We've all seen this in either videos like online or in bad TV shows where somebody is clearly so often either the delivery gets super paused, like who's the Star Trek actor? Kirk on the original.
He
was kind of known
Captain
for
Kirk.
Captain Kirk, and then who I think he would always deliver things very dramatically and with great pause, and some things are very, very fitting for that, but it's an example, and it's a way to start looking at and paying attention to yourself, like where are those extreme over delivery things coming in, or are you talking really up here? Because this happens a ton when we start getting on camera, is we really just start always, I'm gonna be my performance voice, my chin goes up, my eyes go up, I kind of lock up here, and I don't really know what to do with this, and it's hard to breathe, it all feels super fake and phony. So start to pay attention to what are your nuances, what are your habits, those autopilot things that are currently set when you turn on the camera, and pay attention to your tone, inflections, cadence, all of those. And I have my clients go through a specific set of a few different scripts to practice their delivery so they can start to hear it in a new way for them to actually be able to check that with themselves and do it actually authentically to them. So that's one thing that I would definitely recommend people start with. And then really one of my favorite tips is knowing who the heck you're talking to. We know how important this is in business for all of our captions, all of our content, everything that we're putting out there, right? We know who our ideal client is. Who's your ideal client avatar? And every time I smile, I feel like my AirPods are going to come out of my ears. And so I'm always like tucking them in. My job moves around so much. But it's really, really extra important in video, because people aren't usually watching videos in groups. You don't have your whole audience all sitting together in front of a computer, right? So you're actually just talking to the one person at a time. So remember that and know that, like, you actually are just having a conversation with one person, and make them your ideal person. And in your mind, take a Post-it note and write out their name on, like, who's an example? What's your ideal client avatar's name?
It's funny because I don't name them, but I have them visually in my head very clearly, but you could just say Sandra.
Sandra. Sure. I make all my people name them. I want a name. I want you to like really see them. Because I also want you to say their name in your head. And so if I'm having a conversation with you versus if I'm having a conversation with my husband, I'm probably going to talk a little differently. Like, it's a different communication style. If I'm having a conversation with my client versus my sister, I'm probably going to speak a little bit differently. Both are going to be me, authentic, real me, but the version that serves the story. And so what I would do is write out their name, stick it just under the lens, so you can see where I can put it right where it hovers, and just stick it up there. And they're going to be at the forefront of my mind the entire time I'm delivering my content. And then mentally in my head, I can say, okay, Sandra, I wanted to share this information with you. All right, I want to share this information with you because I have Sandra locked into my mind, and I could run my voice, my correct voice in my head mentally first, so that, people always say, well, it sounded different in my head, or it made so much sense in my head and I said it out loud and it came out wrong, or it didn't sound like it did in my mind, right?
Yeah.
That's how you really start to fix that.
Yeah, that's a great idea. It's been interesting for me to watch the evolution of my videos in terms of that piece of the more people that I've gotten to work with, the clearer and clearer I've gotten on who I'm speaking to. And so then
the evolution and progress,
it makes your content so much easier to create because you know who you're talking to instead of kind of just making up some stuff, which sometimes when you're starting, you kind of, you have an idea of who you're talking to. And just like we were talking about the process of refinement toward perfection, quote unquote perfection, is you figuring that stuff out. So over time, your ideal client's going to change some as you grow your business and learn what you're doing more and more and more.
It's probably going to evolve with you because you're pretty, as coaches, like we're pretty much always serving people who are a few steps behind us.
Yeah.
So as we continue to grow and evolve and shift some things, like our people are also scooting up along with us.
Yeah.
So like they're going to probably change a bit over time, which is something to pay attention to when we're making evergreen offers. Because then if you're serving people who are maybe way back at a different place where you started, you have to speak to a different language process at that time.
Yeah.
If they're like, I don't even know, I have no CRM yet, I have no funnels yet, like that's going to be a different person than it's like, all right, I have all my funnels in place and sending out weekly emails. Now I want to help scale this, right? It's a very different stage in the evolution.
Yeah. Oh, so good. I mean, one thing that came to mind when you were saying that is it, for people, because I work with both men and women. So if you're thinking of talking to Sandra and Sam, let's say at this, at the same time, and what would you do there where you have maybe a little bit of a wider variation of who you talk to?
Do you use a lot of gender speak?
No.
And if you were having a one-on-one with Sandra and a one-on-one with Sam, what's different about you?
Probably not much. I mean,
probably not much.
Yeah, there would be. I mean, I always speak to people's values, so it's more speaking to values than gender.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. I do not teach ideal client avatar by demographic. I teach it by who are they as the human, like soul person.
Cool.
Yes. I love it. You like answered it for me. That was perfect. Yes.
Good.
You
Awesome.
speak to their value.
Okay.
Back to their values.
Yeah.
To their values. To really who it is that they are, not. And you kind of think about, I don't know if you work globally, but I have clients from a ton of different countries, lots of international variety. And really, again, like I'm an anthropologist by study. I have a lot of interest in different cultures and learning and respecting and honoring all of these differences and variations. But if I'm speaking to an entrepreneur growing their business and wanting to increase their excellence in their content and video presence and mastering themselves, that's the value system. Like that. That's a really specific type of person, really, regardless of whatever culture that they're in.
Okay. Gotcha. Yeah. It popped into my mind thinking like if you name them, them by gender. So it could be more like in my mind, I would be holding just a few clients in my mind and their psychodynamics and what makes them tick and what they like to step into. And I mean, I know for me releasing podcast episodes, the solo cast ones I do, it's like, I always sit down and do a meditation on current themes for the week of what my people are talking about and go like, okay, what's a theme and a pattern? And that's what I want to speak to. And I love this idea of really visualizing them specifically before I do the video.
And you totally, I mean, think about it. I'll sometimes go into the place of, okay, well, when I know I'm doing my live group coaching sessions, very much the same as when I did my retreat in person. And I had the group of, 10 in front of me, and they're all my ideal clients. Mm-hmm. And so I'm there speaking to everybody, but we just have to make sure that we're adjusting and tweaking that energy in the way that we're delivering and connecting, where they each feel like I'm speaking to them as the individual, as the one, instead of like, I'm speaking to a collective. Thank you all so much for being here. I'm so glad, like you're on a stage, very different energetics.
Yeah.
And so that's where it is. It's like, okay, well, I can still speak to the group in that same way as though I'm really just speaking to like that one person, so they each feel held and seen and known.
Yeah, which is what everybody wants, right? It's like they want to be like, oh, Kellsie gets me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
That's awesome. On really practical level, do you recommend that people have scripts before they do a video? Where would you say that plays a role?
Oh, good question. Yeah, so depends. Depends. If you're doing a really specific intentional marketing type of video, maybe you're doing a video series and like, okay, I'm introducing my offer now, right? This is the opportunity to invest, take the next step, something like that. You might have some kind of NLP sequence in there, something that's a little more structured. They're like, all right, I did my research. I know my clients have sent these DMs using this exact language, and I want to repeat their language patterns so that they really know I'm speaking to them as one, right? These are all marketing things you guys are probably familiar with.
Yeah.
So collect those DMs, collect the email responses, put them in a Google Sheet so that you can use those in your scripts later. So you can speak back to them their same words to make it way more powerful. So in instances like that, sure, script it out, use a teleprompter, learn how the F to use a teleprompter, because if I can tell you're doing it wrong, that's perfect. I get so offended. I watch commercials and they're like,
yeah.
And you just see their eyes darting back and forth. Sorry, anyone on the podcast can see my eyes, but it looks so like lazy.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And we're like, put the effort in.
I've never used one. I can't figure out how to make it work. So I just I've never used one.
You know what? There's an app. I think it's called the teleprompter app. It's really simple. Because I like to use my phone for most filming. I have a DSLR. I do not like the time and effort it takes to film with a camera, do the SD card thing. Personally, that's just for me. Some people love it. I like it all on my phone. Maybe someday that will switch, but that's what I've been doing.
I love that. I mean, that's such a powerful tip coming from a video person. You know, it's like,
I'm like, use your phone, you're fine.
Yeah. I mean, the quality is incredible. Yeah.
It really is. I mean, if you have a recent smartphone, you're probably fine. My iPhone can film in 4K. A lot of devices can't even play it back in that. So to me, that's just fine. So I'll use that app, the teleprompter app. And what you want to do is you just want to make sure that it has the kind that can adjust how close the words are to the lens.
That's the thing, right? Because if your lens is at the top and the words are at the bottom, it's going to be really obvious.
Yes, because you're going to be like this, either eyes moving up and down or side to side. It's going to be really distracting and confusing.
Okay.
I did, so anytime in the acting world, when you are auditioning for a teleprompter role, they always ask first, do you have teleprompter experience? Because it feels very weird. And you have to match your pace to the delivery, where it still is hitting the emotional beat. So it very much is a skill to learn and to play around with and to mess with, but it's not that hard. Like it takes a couple of times and tries with that. Make sure, again, it's just hanging up by the lens where the words are going to scroll at the speed that you need. You can add in some space breaks for the moments when you know you're hitting a deeper note, when you are really trying to create an emotional connection, and you're going to lean into the camera, you're going to lean your energy in a little bit more. You're going to slow your speech down, right? So you writing your script, you can know those beats ahead of time, so it still feels like really impactful delivery. You can add some physical spaces into your teleprompter script. So you can set up yourself for success with using a support system like that, having it scripted out. Now, that's probably going to be time consuming and stressful to do frequently. So I would really recommend doing talking points for the majority of videos, where you take that little post-it note and you write their name up on the top or the bottom, where you're talking to Sandra or Sam or whomever, and you write out, what are my 3 talking points? What are the 3 things that I want to make sure I cover in this video? And I'm an expert on these things. If somebody's talking about basket weaving, that's like the 3, I don't even know what basket weaving is. I don't know what I can't. What are the 3 tools you need to get started with your first basket weaving? I would watch this video because I have no idea. So you would know the answers to that, right? Because that's the thing that
so you don't need to script that, because this is your area of expertise. Yeah. Okay. It cracks me up, because when I very first started, I used to oh God, it's so funny. I had scripts written out completely, and then I would break it up, and then I'd have these screen things. It was hilarious, and over time I got more and more comfortable. And then I got to where sometimes I would not do anything and then just go for it. But now it's I do I'll sit and meditate and go, okay, what is it that I need to bring to my audience today? And then I write just a few points. And if I have action steps, I often will write those out very, very specifically because it's like a roadmap. But it's kind of, it gets easier. I mean, I'm sharing this with everyone because I want you to know it gets easier over time as you practice, as you perfect, as you step more into that authenticity. And then, it just gets easier to talk for longer without having it to need to be scripted.
Yeah, exactly. Right. I mean, because you're building in the correct building blocks, the correct things that are going to help you become better and improved at those. And it's just going to start feeling way more chill and relaxed and like not a big deal. I promise that's possible. People so often think like, video is not for me. And I say that because I used to really feel like binge eating every time after I would go on live. Like it would spark up all of my like old fears, danger. I mean, I felt like I was going to be murdered. Like I all of that same visceral fear that I had once experienced all would flood back from going live. That's silly, but real. And like I want people to know I've felt that, and I've built in this process so that people can move through that so much faster and with so much more ease, because it can feel like no big deal. I promise.
Yeah. I could talk to you for a long time. This is so fun to me and so applicable to the people listening, because I know that I don't think I can really think of any industry that can't benefit from video. So it's, it's like this is a gold mine. So I want to ask, and I want to ask where to connect people, but first, what are the top 3 max potential habits that got you where you?
The first one is continuously reinforcing my vision. So some way of reminding myself of that imagination, right? What you can imagine is your preview to life's coming attractions. Like I need to, so a lot of times I'm journaling or make a video about it or share it in a mastermind group or with a coach. Remind yourself of the vision. The second thing, strategy. I mean, you have to build in chunking strategy. So we kind of talked about this at the beginning before I even hit record. Chunking down the strategic part, because otherwise it will become super overwhelming. Where we were just saying every quarter adding in one new big project. Because if you're like, okay, well, Q3 just started and I'm going to start a YouTube channel and a podcast and get huge on TikTok, you're going to drown. So it's building in, chunking in strategy. That habit has changed so much for me, where I drown a lot less. Even though it's just every day there's struggles and things to work through. I mean, business is just problem solving over and over and over again. And so it's okay, well, one big new focus at a time. That's helped a ton. And then building in a habit and a support structure to back yourself. Because without that psychology mindset piece of it, that's there to really support you in pushing through the quitting points, because there's going to be a hell of a lot of quitting points. If anybody's like me, there's going to be a hell of a lot of quitting points. So you're like, nope, this is hard. And that fortitude and that perseverance and that patience with go through it again, keep going through, and choosing to back yourself one more time after every time you feel like quitting. That is a skill. That is a habit that you must build into your bones, into your blood, into who it is that you are, into your identity. And that can be journaling, meditation, a support structure. You can have that represented, I think, through a multitude of different ways, but I think it is crucial. It has to be one of them.
You're so speaking my language.
Yes. Attraction, marketing, right? Like
totally.
Yes.
I love it. I love who I get to interview. And it was funny for everyone listening. Kellsie and I were like talking. I'm like, where are you in the world? She's like, Denver. I'm like, I'm in Boulder. What the heck? How cool is that? I love it when that
40 minutes away.
Yeah, it's amazing. And when you were talking about the quitting points and then chunking down and refining your vision, it's like these are like core principles. I always talk about my number one habit is personal growth and development, like practicing daily personal growth and development. So it's really similar to, your
non-negotiables,
right? It's like, I would not be where I am today if I didn't practice daily mindset training. Like,
it would be
essential.
Impossible.
Yeah.
Like,
I would have quit so many times.
Yeah. Like, literally, how would you be able to take yourself through this much struggle of creating something out of nothing?
Yeah.
Without building in those personal development habits, I don't know how it would be. Somebody else.
Me neither. It's why I do what I do. I'm like, because I know that that's real. And I know that people have this beautiful vision for creating a huge impact in the world. And to me, I love entrepreneurship because it's also unlimited income. So it's like, I can impact as many people as I want, and I can make as much money as I want. And it's all based on me empowering myself and through video. So share with people. I know you have an awesome giveaway. I'm super excited about it. Will you share where to find you and what the giveaway is?
Yes. I hang out most of the time on Instagram, and that's at Kellsie_Moore. Please, like, tag me if you listen to this. That is like the coolest thing. I love it. I love seeing when people listen to it. And send me a DM, like message. I'm on there pretty frequently, and I try to respond to every message. So I really love that. Come say hi, connect. I share a ton of free information and training and value and a lot of mindset stuff, because that's really the daily fuel that we need and to keep replenishing. And then, yes, I do. I have a really awesome free gift for you guys where I've created a 4-part free video training series that is really getting into some of the tangibles about how to get started with this, how to start making those shifts, recognizing where maybe some of the pitfalls, the things to pay attention to. Is video right for you? Can you use it in your business? How to use it in your business? How to pivot during the COVID time, and how to, and a lot of businesses that think, we're brick and mortar, how could I apply this to myself? Working through all of those different kind of questions that keep us stuck. So that's available to you guys free right now.
Awesome. And I will have the links in the show notes for both of those. And we met on Instagram. So I know you're active there because we DM'd each other and, just started going back and forth. And I was like, okay, we did. You totally need to come on and talk to my people. So thank you.
Well, I'm so glad. Thank you.
Yeah, it's been, I love getting to talk to people who just are super into what they're doing. And it's so obvious to me that you are. And it's also, going to your website and seeing your Instagram, I'm just like, oh, yes. To me, there's some really essential tools for building a business. And like we were talking about mindset training and then marketing. I had no idea that when I started business, I was going to need to become a master marketer. And I'm like, oh, that's kind of the key. One of the keys is marketing. And so video to me is like just essential. So I love that we discovered and attracted each other so that I've got my person in my back pocket to send people to when they need video help. Like, I love what you're doing in the world. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you for being here. Such a great conversation. All right, everyone. I know that you got a ton out of this. I did. And I as I build this podcast, YouTube, IGTV, I'm so incredibly, I just feel blessed all the time that I get to talk to the coolest people and share with you. So like Kellsie was saying, tag us because we love to hear from you and go like, yay, this is landing. This is resonating. We're bringing you stuff that you want to hear. So tag us both. Let us know what kind of tips you learned, and definitely enroll in Kelsie's course it's a training class, videos. I don't know what to call it exactly, but
free training.
Free training. Yeah. So make sure you enroll in that. Links will be in the show notes, and I'll be back next week. Until then, have an incredible Max Potential week where you thrive and feel alive. Thanks so much for listening to this episode of the Max Potential Habits podcast. If you're liking what you've heard, it would be so incredibly awesome if you would subscribe to the channel and leave a 5-star rating and a written review. This helps me help more people while we grow our NFA community so we can rock it out together. For Max Potential Habits resources, go to nfacoaching.com where you can access all of my resources. There's free ebooks, PDF checklists, a journal template, a business mindset meditation kit, and so much more. Plus, links to NFA coaching on Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Facebook. And if you're super serious about up-leveling, there's also a link to schedule a free consult to work with me in group or one-on-one coaching. Until next time, I hope you have a Max Potential Habits Day where you get inspired to do whatever it takes to transform into the most empowered version of yourself so you can lead a rich, thriving, kick-ass life and business.